You were never supposed to get out. That's the first thing you understand after the door closes. Not because they told you, because nothing in this place is built for escape. Not the walls, not the guards, not the routines. Everything here exists for one purpose: containment. And now, you're not just another inmate. You're a problem. You completed the mission. That was your job. But the moment you did, you became something else. Someone who knows too much. And inside a system like this, knowledge is more dangerous than violence. Because violence can be controlled. Knowledge spreads. That's why they didn't release you. That's why the guards didn't react when it happened. That's why the target didn't resist, because none of it mattered. The only thing that matters now is making sure you never leave. But there's one thing they didn't calculate. You were trained for this. Not the prison, the exit. And if there's one flaw every system has, it's the belief it's perfect.
Level 1, Lockdown. Level 1 begins when you understand something changed, not the prison, you. The door doesn't close louder than the others. It sounds the same, but now you hear it differently. Before, it meant containment. Now, it means isolation. You're no longer part of the system. You're inside it, but not in it. That distinction matters, because inmates follow patterns, gangs follow structure, guards follow protocol. You no longer follow anything, and that makes you unpredictable, which makes you dangerous, which means you get removed. Your cell is different now. Same size, same concrete, same metal, but empty. No noise from other inmates, no movement in the corridor, no visual contact. Even the lights feel different, too stable, too controlled. There's no randomness here. That's the first thing you notice. This isn't a normal block. This is a holding space, a place for things the system hasn't decided how to handle yet. You sit, not because you want to, because movement has no purpose here. There are no choices to make, no paths to follow, just time in observation. Because even here, you're still being watched. You don't see cameras. That doesn't matter. You don't hear guards. That matters even less. The system doesn't need visibility. It needs behavior, and behavior doesn't stop just because you're alone. You test the space, slowly. Stand, walk 3 steps, stop, turn, sit again. Nothing changes. No reaction. That's expected. The first layer never reacts. It records. So you change the pattern, faster movement, slower breathing, unpredictable timing. Still nothing. That confirms it. This isn't active monitoring. It's passive analysis. They're not stopping you. They're learning you. That's worse, because learning leads to control, and control is what this place does best. The tray arrives. Same slot, same sound, different timing. Not scheduled, delayed, then early, then delayed again. Small variation, intentional. They're testing your reaction to inconsistency. You don't react, not visibly. You eat, same pace, same posture. You give them nothing new. That's the goal now. Not survival, stability. Because the moment you become predictable, they can define you again. And once you're defined, you're back inside the system. You lie down, not to sleep, to think. That's when the real problem becomes clear. Before, the system was moving you. Now, it's waiting. Waiting for you to move. Because the moment you do something that matters, it will respond. And response reveals structure. Structure reveals weakness. That's your only path now. Not force, not speed. Observation. Level 1 isn't about escaping. It's about understanding what's watching you, and more importantly, what isn't. Level 2. Observation. Level 2 begins when you stop reacting and start measuring. Time is no longer counted in minutes. It's counted in patterns. The delay between trays, the rhythm of distant footsteps, the hum behind the walls that changes at certain intervals. At first, it sounds random. It isn't. Nothing here is. You sit in the same position, not because it's comfortable, because consistency creates contrast, and contrast reveals change. The tray arrives again. Late. You don't move immediately. You wait 3 seconds, then 5. Then you stand, not to eat, to listen. The sound in the wall shifts, barely, but enough. That's the first confirmation.
There's something behind the structure, not guards, something automated, something that responds indirectly. You sit again. Now you know, you're not being watched by people. Not directly, you're being processed. That changes the approach. People can be distracted, systems can't. But systems have rules. You start building variables, movement speed, breathing rhythm, position in the room. You change one thing at a time, never two, because two creates noise. Noise hides results. One change, one response. You stand faster than before. No reaction. You walk to the wall. Pause. Nothing. You touch the metal frame. Wait. The hum changes again. Slight, but real. That's the second confirmation. Contact triggers something. Not an alarm, a response. You step back, return to neutral. Always return to neutral, because neutral resets the system. That's your baseline now. From there, you build. You repeat the action. Same movement, same timing, same contact. This time, the delay is shorter. That's not random. That's adjustment. The system is adapting, which means it's not just recording, it's reacting, which means it can be manipulated. That's the first real opening. Not a door, not a weakness, a behavior. And behavior can be exploited. You sit again, still, calm, but now everything is different. Before you were inside the system, now you're starting to interact with it. And that's when the risk increases, because interaction creates visibility, and visibility leads to intervention. You push one step further, you break the pattern, touch the wall earlier than expected, faster, no pause, immediate contact. The response is different this time. Not the hum, the lights, a flicker, short, controlled, but not part of the previous pattern. That's new, and new means you crossed a threshold. You stop immediately, back to neutral. You don't push further. Not yet, because pushing too fast closes systems, but pushing just enough opens them. Level 2 isn't about escaping, it's about proving something, that the system isn't perfect, and if it isn't perfect, it can fail. You sit in silence, same position as before, same posture, but now you're not waiting, you're planning. Because the moment you force a real response, the system will reveal itself, and when it does, that's when escape actually begins. Not with movement, but with control.
Level 3, first breach. Level 3 begins the moment the system makes a mistake, not a failure, a deviation. Small enough to ignore, big enough to exploit. You don't force it, you wait for it, because systems don't break under pressure, they break under repetition. You repeat the same sequence: stand, pause, touch the frame, return, neutral. Again, same timing, same rhythm, same control. At first, nothing changes. Then something does. The delay between your movement and the response shortens, not randomly, consistently. That means one thing: the system is predicting you, and prediction creates vulnerability, because anything that predicts commits. You alter the sequence slightly, stand earlier, pause shorter, touch faster, return immediately. The response comes late. Not much, just enough. That's it. That's the gap. Not visible, not physical, behavioral. You repeat again, same altered sequence. This time, you don't return to neutral. You stay at the wall, half a second longer than expected. The lights flicker, short, controlled, but wrong, because before, light was never part of the response. That means you triggered a secondary layer, and secondary layers are slower, less precise. That's your opening. You step back, return to neutral, let everything reset. Always reset, because pushing twice in a row creates alert, and alert closes gaps. You wait, not for minutes, for pattern stability. When everything returns to baseline, you do it again. Same altered sequence, same delay, same contact. But this time, you move through it. Instead of stopping at the wall, you shift past it. Just one step, small, almost nothing. But inside this system, that's everything. The response comes late again. Lights flicker, but not fast enough. You're already past the position the system expected you to hold. That's the first breach. Not a door opening, not an alarm failing,
a position the system didn't predict, and for the first time since you entered, you are somewhere the system didn't place you. You stop, immediately, no further movement, no reaction, back to neutral, even outside the expected zone, because now the rule changes. It's no longer about finding a weakness, it's about not letting the system understand it. You wait. The lights stabilize, the hum returns, everything resets, but you know it now. There's a delay, a gap between prediction and response, and that gap is where escape lives. Level 3 isn't about leaving, it's about proving you can step outside control. Just once, because once is enough. Once means it can happen again. Level 4, Escape Attempt. Level 4 begins the moment you decide to use the breach. Not test it, use it. That's the difference. Testing is safe, execution isn't. You wait for the pattern to stabilize again. Same rhythm, same silence, same controlled environment. Nothing feels different. That's how you know it's ready. You repeat the sequence: stand, pause, move, touch. But this time, you don't stop. You move through the gap immediately. No hesitation, no correction. You step past the predicted position, then another step, and another, faster now, because the system is reacting behind you. The lights flicker, longer this time. The hum breaks rhythm. That's new. That's escalation. You reach the door, the one that was never meant to open. You don't look for a handle. You don't hesitate. You push. Nothing. Of course, physical barriers don't fail because behavior does. But that's not the point. You step back, re-enter the pattern zone, just for a second, then break it again, faster, harder. The response comes too late, again. That's the key. You're not breaking the door, you're breaking the timing. You repeat, in, out, break, reset, break again. The system tries to catch up. Lights flicker violently now, not controlled anymore. That means it's compensating, and compensation creates instability. You hit the door again. This time, something changes. Not the lock, the alignment. A slight shift, barely visible, but real. You don't hesitate. You push harder. The door resists, then gives just enough. A gap, small, but enough. You move through it immediately. No pause, no look back. That's when everything changes. Noise returns. Footsteps, voices, movement. The prison is back, and now it knows. This is no longer passive. This is active response. Guards move, not randomly, directly, toward you. That means the system localized your position faster than before, which means the gap is closing. You run. Not blindly, not fast enough to panic, just fast enough to stay ahead of prediction. Left, right, forward. You don't choose the path, you read the movement. Where guards are going, where they're not, where the system expects you, and you avoid it. That's the difference now. Before, the system moved you. Now, you move against the system. But something feels wrong. Even as you move, even as you gain distance, the paths feel familiar. Too familiar, like you've already been here, like the system already mapped this route. You slow down, just for a second, and that's when it hits. You didn't escape the system. You changed layers. The same structure, different level. And now the response is faster, more direct, more precise. You hear it, not the guards, something else. A shift in the environment, like the system recalibrated. And now it's not predicting anymore. It's reacting. Level 4 isn't the escape, it's the realization. You can break the system, but the moment you do, it stops playing by the same rules.
Level 5 doesn't begin when you escape. It begins when you believe you did. You slow down, not because you're safe, because something doesn't feel right. The noise behind you fades. Footsteps disappear. No alarms, no shouting, no pursuit. That's wrong. Everything so far followed structure, prediction, response, correction, but now, nothing. You keep moving, corridor after corridor, turn after turn. The environment changes, less metal, less confinement. The air feels different, wider, open. You reach a door,
not reinforced, not hidden, just there. You stop. For the first time, not because the system forced you to, because you choose to. You look at it. No visible lock, no guards, no resistance. That's the biggest warning yet. Nothing in this place exists without purpose. You push it. It opens. No delay, no resistance. Light hits differently on the other side. Not artificial, not controlled, natural. You step through, and just like that, you're outside. No walls, no bars, no structure, just open space, air that moves, a silence that doesn't feel controlled. For a moment, everything stops. Your body doesn't react because it doesn't know how to. You've been inside too long. Your senses adapted to confinement. Now there's no pattern to read, no system to follow, no behavior to match, just freedom. And that's the problem, because freedom has no structure, and without structure, you can't predict anything. You take a step forward, nothing happens. Another step, still nothing. No reaction, no correction, no system. You made it. That's what your mind tells you. That's what everything suggests. But something is still wrong. You feel it before you understand it. That same sensation from inside. Observation. But now there's nothing to see. No cameras, no guards, no inmates, nothing watching you. And yet, you're still being watched. You turn slowly, not out of fear, out of certainty, because you've learned something. The system doesn't need to be visible to exist. You scan the horizon. Nothing, just distance. Then you notice it. Not movement, pattern. The way the ground is structured, too even, too controlled. The way the silence behaves, too consistent. The way the light falls, too perfect. This isn't outside. It's another layer. Bigger, cleaner, less obvious, but still controlled. And then you hear it. Not loud, not mechanical, familiar. That hum, faint, but present. The same one from inside. You didn't escape. You transitioned. The prison wasn't built to hold people. It was built in layers, and every layer feels like an exit until you understand it isn't. You take another step, not forward, just to confirm. No reaction, because now the system doesn't need to react. You're already where it wants you. And then it becomes clear. Everything that happened inside was part of this. The mission, the target, the breach, the escape, all of it. Not to contain you, to move you from one layer to another. Level 5 isn't freedom, it's expansion. The system doesn't break, it grows. And now you're deeper than you've ever been. You made it out. At least, that's what it wants you to believe. If you had the chance to escape again, would you trust it? Or is this exactly where it wanted you to be?